Well, I hope you've had a good Wednesday today. I hope your week has gone well. I hope you're not sick. It seems like the virus is starting to die down a little bit, and we should be thankful and grateful for that. But if you are sick or you're hurting in any way, as always, please let us know. We want to know, number one, so we can be praying for you because we are people that believe in the power of prayer. But number two, we want you to know that we love you and we want to do what we can for you. So if you have a need, just ask us. Like we say every single week, we are coming to the end of the book of Job, but we still have several chapters to discuss before we're at the end, but we are almost there. So last week we talked about Job chapter 38, and remember, in Job chapter 38, the whole point is God is trying to tell Job, look at how I created the world. Look, Job, I am Lord over every single part of the world that I created. Okay, I was wise in the way that I created the world. And then in the latter part of chapter 38, we picked up on the idea that God is wise in the way that he continues to sustain and govern the world, right? I mean that shouldn't come as a surprise to us. I think we recognize that, but God's whole point is, remember, Job wants to go to court. He wants to go before God and he wants to argue his case because Job thinks that he can win, that God somehow is capricious in the way that he judges the world. He does what he wants to when he wants to. Sometimes he executes judgment and sometimes in justice, but sometimes he fails to do so. Sometimes, remember, Job has painted the picture that the wicked continue to prosper and the poor, well, they're just left out in the streets to die or without food to take or clothing. To take care of themselves. God's whole point is, careful, Job. Careful what you say. Job, could it be the case that you're speaking about things that you just don't have the knowledge to think about? Is it the case, Job, that you might know some things, but you fail to know enough where you can see the bigger picture? That's the whole point. Job is able to see little bitty details, but he's not able to see how everything works together, how God makes everything work together according to his plan. Job, you're suffering in this moment. Yes, you see what's been taken away from you. You see what continues to add to your affliction, but can you see why you're suffering? Can you see how that fits into the overall plan? We know why Job is suffering, right? We know from chapters 1 and 2, but guess what? Job is not aware of anything that happened in chapters 1 or 2, except the fact that, he lost all his stuff and his children died. He's aware of that, but he's not aware of what happened in heaven with the Satan or anything like that. We're blessed to know that detail. Job didn't know that, neither did the friends. So we pick up at the end of chapter 38, and we're in chapter 38. We're going to start with verse 39. We're going to continue to develop this idea that God continues to sustain life on earth after he has created it. What we're going to see is, I'll just go ahead and tell you what we're going to see. God is a God who cares for his creation, and he is a God that is compassionate. That's really the word. Verse 39 of Job chapter 38, verse 39. Can you hunt the prey for the lion, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions, when they crouch in their dens or lie in wait in their thicket? Lions. We understand what lions represent. Lions represent strength. They cause us to feel frightened. We're afraid, most of us. God asked Job, can you hunt the prey for the lion? You know, the lion has to eat. Who provides food for the lion? No human wants to mess with a lion. No human is going to have a lion as a pet because they're ferocious. Well, Job, if humans aren't going to provide food for lions because they don't want anything to do with lions, who do you think provides prey for the lion? When the lion's sitting back and it's lying in that thicket and it's laying down and it's hungry and its young cubs need to eat, who do you think provides food? Who causes the prey to walk out so the lion can go grab it and eat? Oh, that's right. God does it. Okay, Job, verse 41. Who provides for the raven its prey when its young ones cry to God for help and wander about for lack of food? Now, the raven is one of those animals that you'll find in the book of Leviticus is considered to be unclean. Okay, but who continues to care for even the animals that are unclean? Oh, that's right, God. What about the raven, Job, that everybody forgets about? You know, this bird that flies in the air. Who provides food for it and for its young? God. In fact, it's funny how that works, right? Or not funny. Well, it kind of is. But it's amazing how that works, that God provides food for the lion. And the lion goes and it tears that carcass to pieces and it leaves the carcass there. Well, who can feast on that carcass? Oh, the raven that flies in the air can feast on that carcass. Look how compassionate and caring God is for the creatures of the earth. Well, we get to chapter 39. Do you know when the mountain goat gives birth? Now, what's the answer to that question? Of course not. Do you observe the calving of the does? It's amazing that humans need all this support from other people when they're pregnant. But deer, they get pregnant, and who takes care of them? Humans don't go out to make sure they have everything they need and make sure they're comfortable and take them to doctor's appointments. No. When does specifically are pregnant, who cares for the doe? God does. He provides food and shelter for the doe and makes sure that the young one is taken care of. Verse 2, can you number the months that they fulfill? And do you know the time when they give birth, when they crouch, bring forth their offspring, and are delivered of their young? Look at God. He's compassionate. He takes care of the doe while she's in labor, and he makes sure that the young one is all right. Their young ones become strong. They grow up in the open, and they go out and do not return to them. As God cares for the pregnant doe, God also cares for her offspring after she has delivered it. The doe, the baby, whatever that is, another doe or a buck, grows up to be strong. Well, that's because of God. Who has let the wild donkey go free? Who has loosed the bonds of the swift donkey? To whom I have given the arid plain for his home and the salt land for his dwelling place. He scorns the tumult of the city. He hears not the shouts of the driver. He ranges the mountains as his pasture, and he searches after every green thing. God has assigned a particular quality to the wild donkey. What is that quality? The donkey loves freedom. The donkey loves freedom. In fact, the donkey loves freedom so much that he's stubborn and doesn't want to be contained, okay? He doesn't want to be fenced in. He wants to roam wherever he wants to roam, and he wants to eat wherever he wants to eat. Now, if he was somebody's property and he was contained and fenced in, sure, he's probably going to have food to eat, at least on a consistent basis, but that goes out the door. When the donkey roams by itself, it has to look for food, but it loves freedom so much that it's willing to give that up. Who takes care of the donkey, even though he's so stubborn and doesn't want to be ruled by humans? Well, God takes care of the donkey. Is the wild ox willing to serve you? Will he spend the night at your manger? Well, just like the donkey loves freedom, guess what? The wild ox also loves freedom, and he is also stubborn. But the wild ox is strong. Humans can't just rule over the wild ox. The wild ox will do what he wants to do. Can you bind him in the furrow with ropes, or can he... No. Or the valleys after you? Will you depend on him because his strength is great, or will you leave to him your labor? Do you have faith in him that he will return your grain and gather it to your threshing floor? Well, of course, the answer to all these questions is no. No, Job. You're not going to restrain the wild ox. He's going to do what he wants to do. But guess what? Somebody has to take care of that stubborn creature. Guess who it is? Oh, that's right, Job. It is God. This is where it gets kind of comical. Verse 13, the wings of the ostrich wave proudly, but are they the pinions and plumage of love? Well, we get a description of the ostrich, and we all know what an ostrich looks like. And it's rather funny because the ostrich is this big bird with a big body, has a very slim neck, and then it has a really big head. It's just this ginormous bird that does have wings and can flap its wings all day long. But guess what never happens? The ostrich never comes off the ground. It can't fly in the air because it's so big. It's so large. Well, God has also given the ostrich some qualities that probably aren't as desirable as the quality that the ox and the wild donkey has. For she leaves her eggs to the earth and lets them be warmed on the ground, forgetting that a foot may crush them and that the wild beast may trample them. She deals cruelly with her young as if they were not hers. Though her labor be in vain, yet she has no fear, because God has made her forget wisdom and given her no share in understanding. God has made the ostrich, for lack of a better word, stupid. The ostrich gets up from being on top of her eggs and she just wanders off. Doesn't even think about her eggs lying on the ground where another wild animal could run through and just easily step on and crush her eggs, where she doesn't think about humans stepping on those eggs. She's just in her own world doing her own thing. But you look at verse 18. When she rouses herself to flee, she laughs at the horse and his rider. Well, that's something. The ostrich is fast. The ostrich is very fast. That's because God made the ostrich to be fast. In fact, the ostrich is faster than the horse. Now, a horse is known for being swift. They're quick. People like them in war because of that. That's not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons. Well, the ostrich in a race will beat a horse. So here you have this big bird that can't get off the ground, even if it flaps its wings all day long and walks away from its eggs, but then When it needs to flee, it runs faster than the horse. God takes care of the ostrich. Do you give the horse his might? Well, the horse is known, we already said, for being swift, but the horse is also known for being very, very strong. Well, why is the horse strong, Job? Is it because you made the horse that way? No, the horse is that way because God made the horse that way. Do you clothe his neck with a mane? Do you make him leap like the locust? So the horse is also very athletic. His majestic snort is terrifying. He paws in the valley and exults in his strength. He goes out to meet the weapons. He laughs at fear and is not dismayed. He does not turn back from the sword. Upon him rattled the quiver, the flashing spear and the javelin. With fierceness and rage he swallows the ground. He cannot stand still at the sound of the trumpet. When the trumpet sounds, he says, aha. He smells the battle from afar, the thunder of the captains and the shouting. So the horse isn't only known for being swift and athletic and being strong and powerful. The horse is known for being courageous. In fact, so courageous that it will run straight into battle, not even thinking about weapons that might ultimately be used for its demise. God cares for the horses. God made the horse to be unique in a way. Is it by your own understanding that the hawk soars and spreads his wings toward the south? Is it at your command that the eagle mounts up and makes his nest on high? On the rock he dwells and makes his home, on the rocky crag and stronghold. From there he spies out the prey, and his eyes behold it from afar. His young ones suck up blood, and where the stain are, there he is. Job, who made the eagle with keen eyesight? Who made the eagle smart enough to build its nest away from danger? Who made the eagle swift? Who made the eagle with the ability to fly in the air and look for food? Oh, that's right. God did that. God was wise in the way that he created the world, but God was also wise in the way that he created the creatures of the world. God is the sustainer of life. That's what we learned from the end of Job chapter 38 and the beginning of Job chapter 39. We're going to stop there. We'll discuss chapter 40 next week. I hope you have a great week, or rest of the week at least, and I can't wait to see everybody Sunday. God bless.